Hello, this is Sam Hill, your host of How I Came Up. On our last episode for this season, we have Tamarra Johnson, who is a strategist, an entrepreneur, and an overall great community leader. Now, I can't wait for you to hear her story. Now, let's get to it. This is How I Came Up.
My name is Tamarra Lewis Johnson. I'm from Buffalo, New York, Oxford Avenue to be specific. Oxford Avenue is pretty much right off of Main Street. So it's kind of like we got the best of both worlds in a sense. I can't say I was West Side, can't say I was East Side. Of course, grew up in a house with siblings, lots of them. My mother had 5, but my father had 14 brothers and sisters. So I'm kind of like in the middle of the set of siblings, and really we're like Indians in longhouses. I would like to call it, because everybody wore whatever was available. We kind of slept where we could. We were very well loved. We just weren't as fortunate as other kids. But my father was really a stickler for education. So education really was not an option. That's probably the only time we really got disciplined, was education. Homestead School 56, where I got most of my foundation laid. And then I happened to be really kind of smart, and I ended up being the first Jack Kemp Scholar at the Nichols School. So my high school years were spent at the Nichols School, where I did a full ride under the Jack Kemp Scholarship, where I had to go to Washington and get a scholarship. And it was a big to-do for my parents, not realizing that I was actually paving the way I was the first graduating class of the Buffalo Prep program, which is still up and going today. So I was one of the pioneers for the Buffalo Prep program, which everybody knew about Upward Bound, but Buffalo Prep was new. And Lorna C. Hill, who just recently passed away, was one who had an eye for scholars and really put me up under her wing and drove me to succeed and to pass, when in our area and growing up, we didn't really qualify, but we were hand selected. So I was part of the first graduating class of Buffalo Prep, and went on to be one of the first graduating classes of the Nichols School through the Buffalo Prep program. So in 2002, I moved to Atlanta, and, getting to know the area, trying to find my way, in a sense, kind of running from Buffalo. In a sense, I went through some things that kind of caused me to relocate quickly. So getting my kids readjusted, bringing back my mom, because I told my dad, I'm like, I gotta leave, but I want my mom to come. Of course, my parents are still married. We're still married until my father's death. So it wasn't like they were separating anything. I just needed my mom. I said, I just need you to come and support me as we get it together. So she came, of course, not an issue. But my mom, started going to church, and my mom started working for the church's daycare. And it seemed like every week she was buying more stuff and doing more stuff. And I'm like, she likes it. So she didn't have to work. She just volunteered. She started off volunteering. And then eventually the associate pastor was like, well, let me just give you a check, at least. So they gave her a check. And then she had to take this training class and this schooling certification. So the certification was like $600 or $700. Well, she's making $7.25. Period. Is no chaser to it. She's not. She just loves the babies. And of course, she's taking her check and going to Walmart and buying bibs and cribs and whatever else she wanted to buy. It was her money. And so when she was required to take this certification that cost like $600 or $700, she learned some things. So my mom decides to take this class for childcare, and she comes home with a eureka and says, well, in Georgia, you can have 2 children in your home and you can charge for them. And I'm like, well, what do you charge? And she's like, some people charge $75 and some people charge $100 per child. And I'm like, oh. So I said, so you're questioning, should you have 10 or 2? And I said 10 or 2 for about maybe 2 weeks. And she kept saying, then finally she says, Tamarra, why do you keep asking me, can I have 10 or 2? And I said, I was asking you, do you want to get paid the same amount for 2 children as you currently get paid for 10? Because you're watching 10 now for the same amount, because you told me the dollar amount. And she says, well, I want to get paid to watch 2, the same price as I want to get paid to watch 10. I said, oh, okay. I said, well, let me read, because I need to make sure ain't nobody going to jail. And I'm not going to jail watching these children. And let me read. So I read, and we opened up our first child care center in the home.
Welcome to Miss Pam's Precious Angels Family Child Care Center. We have 2 locations servicing the Jonesboro area and Conyers. We service children's ages 6 weeks to 12 years old, and we're even housing our virtual learners. Now, we don't teach the classes. However, what we do is we provide a safe, clean location for them to teach and learn throughout the day.
First day we had 1. Next week we had 2. By December we had 19, which was a situation. So in April 2014, we opened up our first commercial child care center that housed 36 kids in a perfect world. March 2017, we opened up our second location, which happened to be 13,000 square feet of child care center. And during the pandemic, we moved the first location in 2020 to a almost 9,000 square foot facility. So we have currently two childcare centers, which ironically in April or May 2020, before this pandemic started, one center housed 232 children. And we've been rolling ever since and opened, and I've helped about 7 people open up childcare centers because we're not in competition. It's never a competition. You don't do what I do. And I've given them my handbooks, my supplies, if they need desks, or I'll give it away. I'm working on that part of me, but I just figure I'll get blessed someplace else, so it doesn't matter.
Welcome to Checkmate. I am Tamarra Lewis-Johnson. I am the co-owner of Checkmate, the restaurant coming to the city of Morrow. Now, what Checkmate will give you, and I know you can't see it from here, is fine dining, live music, private meeting rooms, VIP sections, a wine room, a place that you can come in and you really, really, really feel not only at home, but you'll understand the value of fine dining in the city of Morrow, but more importantly on the south side. Now, can you tell me where you can find fine dining?
So when it comes to family businesses, we have MPPA 1, which is the first child care facility that we started that relocated, and that houses about 160 children. We have MPPA 2, which is the larger facility, which we're in the process of buying that building as we speak. And that's a 13,000 square foot facility that houses about 200 and I think it's 262. We have Checkmate, which is a restaurant that we are opening in the city of Morrow for fine dining, because on the south side of Atlanta, I don't know how familiar you guys are with Atlanta, but on the south side of Atlanta, there aren't any high-end quality dining locations. And I like to be dressed, and my daughter likes to, her college and likes to get dressed, but there's no place to go on the south side. You have to go to the city of Atlanta, and we all know how city of Atlanta traffic is and things like that. So I kind of took on a challenge that my 24-year-old said, well, Mom, I would stay on the south side, but there's no place to go. So we're opening up a restaurant 2022. It's called Checkmate. It's about a 4,800 square foot building that we're building out in Morrow. So kind of be on the lookout for that. It'll be like Queen City wine and dining, because that's what we're doing. So we have Checkmate going on. I have a mobile hookah lounge that is being called Smokings, that is in the process of being built. I don't know when this is airing, but probably when it does air, it should be out already. The 14-year-old owns a fleet of vending machines, and that's her business because she's going off to college, so she needs money. Then we have Ginseng Management Group, which is our real estate, commercial real estate venture that we're doing. Did I get it all? I think that's it for now. But we try to make sure we have a business for every child, and ×2. That's my goal, so that they understand, know how to work it, and then go ahead and take over it, because I'm retiring soon. So both MPPA 1 and 2 are both quality rated, which is a step above the rest for the state of Georgia for when it comes to childcare centers. So both of the daycares are quality rated. When it comes to Checkmate, the restaurant, we have been working together with the city to get funded and get that set up. So that's how we're moving and grooving with Checkmate. And every other business, Hexagon Life Connect, my daughter's 529 Designs, vending machines, all of those are we're just grinding it out, really. We're a family that grinds. I'm in the process of kind of building a lot of the businesses, but like on Facebook, I'm Tamarra Lewis Johnson, of course, Tamarra Lewis Johnson, and I have probably like 2 pages on Facebook. On Instagram, I'm at Tamarra PR, because I used to actually do PR work. They're too demanding, and I have too much on my plate. So, but you'll keep in touch with Miss Pam Precious Angels, or Miss Pam Precious Angels at gmail.org, and Checkmate, Smoke Kings, and we'll have to follow up and get you some more information on that, as those are businesses that are in the making, but you'll be around for the grand openings. So I'm sure you'll find me. I am Tamarra Lewis Johnson, and this is how I came up.
Hello, this is Sam Hill from Success in Me. We are excited to announce season 4 of How I Came Up will air this November. We have educators, entertainers, and entrepreneurs this season. We can't wait to share their stories. Now let's get to it. This is how I came up.